So anyways, getting into this video, 5 daily micro habits for quantum leaps in personal growth. Now, I was making notes on this because a lot of things, because I have been, creating a lot of opportunities for myself. I have been practicing these things. I'm seeing, the need for them showing up with some of my more recent clients, and it's just reminding me that there's a whole collective out there that are probably struggling with the same things. So when I say personal growth, I mean you're struggling. You're struggling with the choices you're making. You're not happy with the outcomes that you're having. You're not happy with the environments that you're putting yourself in. It's like, why are you making these decisions, and why can't you stop making these decisions? Because obviously, doing the same thing over and over and expecting new results, and that right there, that dog, that's a sign. He's saying, she's talking some real okay. So getting back in alignment with where I was going, there are 5 really small things that you can do to create massive changes in your life, and I'm going to share that with you here. And I'm also going to try to break down and explain to you, or channel to you, why they're important, okay? So the first thing, as the winged alchemist, the first thing is the alchemist's morning ritual for clarity, for frequency alignment, to basically set the stage for, or the theme for, your day, okay? And some of us may already do it, right? Some of us might already maybe do a meditation. Some of us may already do something where they're just peace and, a prayer, something. But for those of you who are not consistent with it, here's my 30-day challenge for you. As soon as you wake up in the morning, intentionally get up and do this thing, this ritual, this thing for 5 minutes every day. And that thing, it is going to be as simple as tuning into your breath. And now there are levels to this alchemy stuff. Okay, there are levels. There are levels to adding to make the intention, or to generate more energy towards the intention, to empower that, to make that energy greater, to magnetize it. There we go. You see, y'all watched me go through this process of finding the right word, and I found it nonetheless. So yes, you want to use 5 minutes to tune into your breath, because when you tune into the breath, you tune or tap into the autonomic nervous system, okay? Now this system literally powers all the things that does the work without you having to think about it. And one of those things is breathing. Another one of those things is your heart beating. Another one of those things is your liver cleansing, detoxing. Another one of those things are your kidneys cleansing. Another one of those things is your gut doing what your gut does. You get me, okay? You don't think about doing those things. There is an autonomic mind, an autonomic aspect of you that does that thing. And you bet you how large that autonomic thing is. That thing is literally powered by God, okay? It's literally powered by the Creator. Because if it stops, you stop. You, as the physical you, stops. There are obviously ways that we program this system, or ways that you hack the system, and how you do that is through the breath. And the reason why you're going to want to do this is why I talk about kidneys and doing organs and how your organs create your reality. This is why, because listen, are you listening? When you begin to tap into the breath, you hack the subconscious. The subconscious controls the majority of how your reality is created. Okay? The subconscious is literally ran the reticular activating system in the brain. I know you guys hear me talk about this all the time, honey. Okay? When you hack the breath, this is why y'all need to do some sort of focused breathing. And it gets deeper when you intentionally create rhythm with the breath, okay? It gets deeper. Rhythm with the breath is the alternate nasal breathing. It's the breath of fire. It's the 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 7 breathing technique, the 5, 5, 5 breathing technique. It's kidney breathing. It's kidney packing. You know what I mean? It's the movements, the qigong movements that go with the sounds of the organs. Okay? And remember what I said. The autonomic system governs the stuff that run without you having to think about it. And what does that also tell you? It tells you that you tuning into your organs, tuning into your nervous system is tuning into the organs. It's amplifying, it's magnetizing the energy of the organs. Okay? It is summoning or curating more chi and expanding the vitality of the organs, right? But if all of that all plays a part with the reticular activating system and in how you notice or focus on the things that you see in your reality, the field, then that means that doing focused work with the organs is just another way of you tapping into an aspect of the subconscious. So when I tell you that I made some serious shifts in my life from, yes, doing yoga, but then getting even deeper and tuning into the magnificent creation of the human body from a different perspective, one that obviously we're not taught in school, I see things shift. But here's the thing. Here's where it gets even, a higher layer, the next level of breath work is adding the visual scene of what is happening with the organ or with the breath, and seeing exactly where that energy is being directed, and seeing exactly how the area of where the energy is being directed, the impact that is created, the shift, the process of shift, or the alchemy that is happening in the present. And sure, you can say, well, it's happening in your mind, but again, we say the same things all the time. Imagination doesn't know what is real or fake. It knows what you tell it. And the imagination is directly linked to the reticular activating system. This is why it's so important to flex your imagination, to be creative, to be innovative. Because you begin to see reality in different ways, and that is all part of the beauty of the beauty of this experience as well. Is to use this is to play the song of you. I feel like I'm preaching here. It's to play the song of you. Okay, so that's just one micro habit. Now, after you've done that, after you've done your 5 minutes of breath work and you've hacked the autonomic system, you've empowered your instrument, what you want to do is now take the next 3 minutes to reflect on at least one of your values. Now, your core values, don't play with those things. Because once you tap into your core values, you clearly recognize literally what your core values are. And I'm going to give you one That's a very powerful one that literally worked for me. Like I was just talking about this earlier today because I had a follow-up to my day of coaching session, and the feedback that I'm seeing in like my clients' realities just from them tapping into their core values, oh my goodness, it's so powerful. See, your core values are frequencies, okay? Your core values are frequencies. When you consciously tune into a value that really resonates with the soul, you know that that is how the soul wants to express itself through your person, through the ego. All the ego does is decide and puts itself in situations to where the soul gets to express itself. I mean, that's the best way to use it, okay? But frequencies, I say, are dangerous because once you tune into them and you know what those things are and you are completely aware, you have brought in awareness. Remember I talked about in my last sit down video that awareness is the very first thing to a shift, an identity shift. And the reason why is because it's time for you to be honest with yourself. It's time for you to see what's really going on. It's time for you to really realize what you genuinely want. And side note, if you have if you have a challenge defining what you want, then define what you don't want and then do the opposite of that. Okay? That's the easiest way if you don't know how to define what you want. And I get it. It happens sometimes. So we got to do a little bit of alchemy on it. Okay? You got to reverse it. You got to flip it and reverse it. The mind is very powerful. And so we use it intentionally. So when you tap into these frequencies, into these values, and you start to welcome that energy into your being, and you intend to embody that, what ends up happening, you start very clearly realizing what is not working in your reality. You start very clearly realizing what is not working in your reality. You start clearly realizing where all the ways where you're not able to live by these values. And remember what I said, we define what we don't want in order to see or understand fully what we do want, and then we intend in that direction. They're dangerous. Only align with them if you're really ready for change. Because once you align with them, reality gets even more uncomfortable. You can't hide from the things that you have been fawning with. Fawning is like almost like people pleasing, submitting to against your own desires, against your own true intentions. You know? Only align with them if you're really ready to make real change and make different decisions and really evolve your identity, because the phoenix is rising. The phoenix is going to burn a hole in you if you don't move out of its way and let it be rebirthed into its next level self. Okay? And here's the thing. This is why you may as well just become an alchemist, because the phoenix is always dying and rebirthing. The phoenix is always, the phoenix doesn't only level up or is rebirthed just once. It is an alchemical process of constantly becoming, constantly. And the more you allow yourself to really trust the unknown, really it's trust the unknown, because of course, the ego self is like wanting to attach to what it already knows, and what it already knows is the past. That's why ego self can get defensive at times, because it's scared and it wants to hold on to the past. But I digress. We got more to get through, honey. We got more to get through. So I know you caught the message in that aspect. So let's move on. The third thing, an energy recalibration midday reset. Want me to say it again? That's the third thing. And again, this is like 1 to 2 minutes. You've heard me talk about this before. If you guys are like diehard, literally like tune into every video because I'm like, you're genuinely receiving the part of my heart that I'm putting out here, gratitude to you. But you know this. Back when I was working a 9 to 5 and I was going through my personal growth period, my initial awakening, like that spiritual awakening that a lot of us have gone through, do you know what I had to do in order to stay in alignment with that frequency I put myself on in the morning, tapping into the subconscious, coding it with a core value of mine? I had to take breaks, and these were intentional breaks. These intentional breaks were 2 minutes. This was a 2-minute reset. And this 2-minute reset is basically did the same thing. I would go into the conference room. I would stretch if I had to in some sort of a way. Mostly I would just deep breathe and shift really shift my focus and align it with a different level or state of consciousness. One that was geared towards what I was creating, so that way I could stay in alignment with what I was starting to, or what I was intending in my reality, what I was, what was placed in my heart that I would love to experience, and doing what I can to experience it now. And based off of the resources or based off of what was in my environment, I was going to use what I had to cook up that frequency that I was calling forth into my being, that I was learning to embody. That's powerful. It doesn't take long to recode. It literally takes like 60 seconds of focused thought or focused intention for the subconscious to realign. It's very powerful. You just have to get used to doing it all the time. And the more you do it, the longer you're able to hold the frequency. Okay, so let's moving on. 4. I like 4. 4 is the evening truth bomb. Now, the evening truth bomb is important because this is where we get used to the idea of feedback. Looking back and receiving feedback. And I love this because this has been the cornerstone of my business, is continuously getting feedback from the people that I'm interacting with, when it comes to coaching, or when it comes to, the sessions that I do, or the speaking engagements that I'm now getting to receive. How I started getting into, being interested in receiving feedback and then moving accordingly. And this is important because I see it applying to everything. Here's how you do it. You start focusing on receiving feedback from your reality. The only way to start receiving that feedback is to learn how to read the signs and the messages and the things that are standing out, the things that your system is focusing on, and decide what it means to you, really. A lot of you might mean, oh my goodness, like the feedback that I'm receiving from my reality is my body is feeling very tense in that space in my lower back. That was me. Or my blood pressure is rising. I'm having blood pressure issues, or I'm having autonomic, disease issues. Your reality, the feedback that you're receiving it's telling you something. It's telling you something. Now, it could tell you that there is a need to make an adjustment. It doesn't have to tell you that something is just completely bad and wrong, but it's telling you that there's need for awareness. There's need for a little bit of attention. So you can understand what is really happening there. Because sometimes when we're triggered, we think, oh, this thing is telling me that this is not for me, when that's not the case. It's definitely telling you that there's something to review and reflect here. But when it comes to reviewing and reflecting, it means having to be very honest with yourself. Truth bomb. Because when you're honest with yourself, you might realize that, wait a second, I'm viewing it like this and I'm becoming triggered, and it's causing these reality outcomes that are really uncomfortable and unfavorable because it wasn't really my intention in the first place. Or when that trigger comes up, you can see like, wait a second, why is this making me very uncomfortable, and why is it really hard for me to connect to my truth? Where is that coming from? And let me give it the awareness that it's clearly asking for, so we can correct it, so we can bring alignment to the split self that was created and it's causing conflict. You know what I mean? And I'm not laughing. Like, it's like, it's comedic in terms of where God can sometimes be comedic in how it shows you a mirror. You know what I mean? And it's not until after the fact do you kind of see it comedically. Of course, when you're in the middle of it, you feel like you're like, God, why aren't you on my side? But universe is always on your side. It's also responding to the resonance that you are creating from within, right? So the purpose of that reflection in the evening time, and again, it's literally just 5 minutes, of reflection truth bomb. You want to think about maybe something that stood out to you that you felt. You want to think about some of the choices that you made, and you want to think about what are some realizations from the feedback that you're receiving. That's all. You know, lately I've been thinking about some of the choices that I made, speaking at the Repaired Nations event, making that, conference. Making that choice really made me realize something, that I want to do more speaking engagements. That it was a really big realization for me, how much I really enjoy leading in-person groups, how much I want to do that more, like in a speaker's sense, not just like, in a retreat, but just going for a focused purpose and facilitating that in front of groups of people. I want to do more of that. And I want to continue to doing what I'm doing now, so I can get clearer on the message, even though I kind of know what my message is now. But the fact that I know that I want to do more speaking engagements, how am I going to frame that? How am I going to frame this in that way? And as long as I continue vlogging, you guys will see the development of that. I don't know. So far, I've just been looking at creating a media kit around it, but we'll see. These are just thoughts. They're thoughts that I wrote down in my journal, and we'll see. But I'm telling you this because I hope it inspires you. I've had realizations where I realized with my partner that I was being very defensive, and it was because I was falsely trying to protect myself. I mean, the me trying to protect myself was very real, but it had me saying childish things like just holding the grudge in the discussion. And the moment I realized, the feedback that I was getting from my partner, and I realized that that's what I was doing, I dropped it. And I was like, yo, let me be honest. Actually, I really just want to get back to love. And I totally understand what you're saying, and you've clearly shown to me that you understood what I'm saying. The only reason why I'm holding on to this is because I'm holding on to fear. That was a truth bomb. And then for me to admit that, it was liberating, actually, very liberating. And I was excited and I was very proud of myself. I was cheering myself on because it shows me that I'm growing, you know? Shows me that I'm growing, and I love that. But taking time, not long, but just 5 minutes to think about something like that and really like think about how I can look at a situation from a place of responsibility. And that doesn't denote that I'm being, fawning and submitting to somebody else. No. I'm still sticking to the truth. It's just, am I taking it a little bit far? You know what I'm saying? We all can get there sometimes. The ego does what it does, and it does it very well. Sometimes a little bit too much, but you are the one in control. You got to put things into perspective or put certain things into check or in check. Okay? Now the fifth one is literally the best one. It is nighttime visualization for the future self. The future self that you are calling in, I call it the 2.0 you. You know what I'm saying? There's the Jamila, and then there's the Jamila 2.0. That's what I call it. And if you were the 2.0, then we're moving on to the 3.0. Okay? We're always evolving, again, with that phoenix. Anyway, all that visualization does is prime the subconscious as you're moving into your sleep state, your delta state, okay? That's all that it does. And you want to, again, put it on a certain frequency. Don't go to bed listening to Diddy and Abercrombie and Fitch and or the owners of Hollister, like, and this is me talking to me, okay? Don't go to bed after watching a video like that and about all the trafficking that's happening in the world. Yes, it's great to be aware of this because they're very real things, and you have to know how to set certain frequencies of protection in place, right? To move in this field where all things exist, all the really magical and the divine things, and then all the things that are completely opposite of that, right? Okay, well, you do your best to. Some things are, it's just part of the world, but you do your best to. And all I'm saying is to take responsibility for the parts that you can take responsibility for. Everything else is universal. It is God willing. It is God, right? But that's all that I'm saying, is to use the tools that you already have. And when you start using the tools that you already have, which is you start seeing more of the tools that you have in your environment. You start seeing more of the tools that you have when it comes to purpose, career, growth, money, evolution, family, partnerships, all the things, all the layers. Okay? So here's what I'm going to tell you right now. If you're struggling with the reality giving you feedback that's extremely uncomfortable, and you're ready to make change, and I say this again, and you're ready to make change, I want you to go down below and look in my Patreon shop and click on my core values alignment workbook. There is a lot of value in that workbook. And like I said, don't do it unless you're ready. If you're not ready, then don't do it. But if you're ready, then align with your core values and let my workbook, let me essentially walk you through a 21-day shift just by tuning in to your core values. And you know what? I'm gonna save that for the next video. How about that? Check out my links below, guys. If you want to join me in Costa Rica at the Alchemy of Inner Empowerment Retreat with the great Wayne B. Chandler, advanced Qigong practitioner, join me there. I will be teaching some of the female cultivation practices, but if you're really just looking for some support in your identity shift and in you shifting your reality, join my email list, and whenever you get an email, tune in, because I'm sharing this because I genuinely love you. Guys, if you like this video, like the video, click the like button, because I see all of y'all tuning in and not hitting the like button. I appreciate it. If you receive some value and you genuinely like the video, just like the video. And if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. With that being said, peace and prosperity.